now we start today's show with a big announcement. We've finally won the Podcast of the Year Awards at the FSA. Easy! Oh, there it is.
What was it like on the night, Marcus?
Oh, I was so drunk.
10th attempt, Marcus.
Apparently so.
Yeah.
Victoria Derbyshire hosting the awards did say that to me.
Yeah.
Sam Matterface handed me the trophy, which was very kind. And of course, a lot of you saw the social media photo of me hilariously doing an Emi Martinez pose with the trophy, shagging the trophy essentially in front of the FSA boards. Rest assured,
We won't be nominated again.
Yeah.
I mean, it's why I haven't touched the trophy so far, even though I'm full of joy.
We don't know how far it went.
yeah.
Did you have a hotel in central London afterwards?
I can't confirm or deny.
Don't divulge. Right, okay.
I did that celebration on the stage in front of 400 people.
Well, look, we treated the universally unloved for 10 years award.
This is what happens when you suppress our emotions.
When you suppress our emotions.
It all comes bursting out in a fit of joy and abandon.
Football Weekly, eh? Max Rushton, Barry Glendenning, you boys talk about that have a beating. Just looking down the list of the hosts from all the years. Lars Sivertsen, Nicky Batten, Andy. Let's move on to the. You take.
Okay. Well, it was a listener vote. This award, of course. So the award does belong to listeners because I did threaten them. I said, if we don't win this, it's on you. So we have won it, and it is on them. So
and he will be pressing it against you.
Yes.
Every time you see someone in the street.
You're all welcome to have a go with the trophy.
It's a lovely a whole year of just people humping the
lining
trophy.
Up. Hello, I'm here for the trophy.
They'll have to make a new one. They'll have to call us something else.
It's very heavy, solid. I think it would withstand the ball.
Perhaps we just haven't been given many awards in our time, but I mean, resin's quite heavy, isn't it?
It bloody is.
Bloody heavy.
You can see why Primal Scream left theirs in the back of a taxi, can't you?
Exactly.
You can. I can see why you made your kitchen worktop.
So is that a resin, yeah.
Yeah, blimey, O'Reilly. Well, yeah. So thank you so much to everyone who voted. We are genuinely very, very, very grateful for your continued support of the Ramble. As I say, it was the 10th time we've been nominated.
It's a public vote, and we asked repeatedly.
Yes.
And you delivered repeatedly, and we really appreciate your hard work.
You finally delivered.
You finally delivered.
So, no, thank you so much. It was marvellous. And a special thanks to Chris Roger, who wrote us our very own campaign song. And perhaps that was the clincher.
Very good.
Yeah.
You're going to get over the line. You do need a campaign
Roger.
song. Yes, exactly, yeah. We had a good Rogering involved, so that's what it was.
Marcus.
Oh, dear. So, again, huge thank you. Lots of love. We appreciate it.
Goodbye.
Sounds like it's the end of the show. We've got lots to talk about.
We're going to have to put up a shelf, aren't we?
I think
I point. What was that award? Was it Pick Live? We won some kind of award back in the day.
It was called the Not 100%.
The Not 100%
Accurate
Awards.
And that's what it was, the Nopers.
Yeah.
And we won it. So I like to think this is more accurate. But
do we know where that award went? Because that's the only 2 awards we've ever won.
I reckon I've still got it somewhere.
Marcus, let's have an award shelf going.
It could be in that place where the Harry Kane statue was for a bit.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
I like the idea that the Ramble doesn't have a trophy room, but you have a trophy room.
Well, Andy, this one's very much a Ramble award. So all the producers, producer Rory, Finn, Charlie, Tom, all those people. Anyway, sorry, I'm not on the stage anymore. I won't hump it, and we must move on, of course. But thank you again for voting for us. Now then, gentlemen, Leicester City 3, West Ham United 1.
We spoke so much about the awards just in case.
Yes.
Julen Lopetegui has been fired in the time that we're recording, because we know it's going to happen at some point today, and it'll probably be 1 minute after we finish recording.
That's right, yeah.
Yes.
So we know.
We know. You know.
So I'm just looking. No, he's still in.
Still in there. I'll keep an eye while you're talking.
Okay, appreciate that. But Ruud van Nistelrooy very much in at Leicester City.
Yes.
Of course, he won his first game in charge, and that's the stuff that they wanted. He knows how to beat Leicester, but he knows how to win with Leicester, Peter. It's important for a manager.
It is, yeah. I mean, that Jamie Vardy finish for the opener.
Come on.
That was everyone thought was offside, and then he wasn't offside. That was rolling back the years.
Oh, it was beautiful.
Accurate as hell, further out than it needed to be.
Yep.
Slide rule pass into the corner. Beautiful. Proper 90s striker goal.
And even they thought it was offside first of it.
Yeah.
Like, no one could be that quick and get into the ball, so he must be offside.
Exactly.
That's what it says to the human eye.
So good.
Yeah, we knew it was an unhappy camp under Steve Cooper. I didn't realise it was that unhappy. Do you know what I mean? Like Vardy, as you say, 10 years younger almost, and got them off to a great start. It's his 5th Premier League goal of the season. Jamie Vardy's kind of gone maybe slightly
under the radar.
I mean, because they're not scoring that much, and
the radar thought he was being radar-y, but then it got called off via VAR. So
maybe that's it. I say Leicester are not scoring that much. That's a bit unfair. I mean, they've scored 19 goals this season, which is more than most of the other sides down there, and some above them. But yeah, Vardy. Again, at the ripe old age he is, and whatnot, is doing all right. I did like it that he ran straight to the fans after the goal. And I thought he was going to do that sort of little birdie kind of celebration that he did, which was. Did you see that, Andy?
Yeah, I did. Well,
you're trying to figure it out.
I'm trying to work out what he was trying to do, because it was a bit like when he scored at Palace away.
Yes,
and did that in front of the Homesdale end, isn't it?
Yeah. Do you think he got confused and he was like, their kits look a little bit like Palace? Oh no, is it Villa? Oh, and he was just. Whereas he should have done some hammer service.
He had time to think about it.
Yeah,
but it just depends if you're capable of thinking in the thinking time, doesn't it? That's the thing.
For a player of his vintage, it's astonishing that he's having such a lovely season. I mean, he's probably happy to be out of the house with Kalina and on the telly every night. Probably some quite torturous conversation going on in the household. Let's have a Tuesday night out, to be honest.
Pete representing fathers from the 80s there. and before. Yes. And of course, Leicester went on to win 3-1. I mean, it was a great start for them. Although, I mean, it was an interesting game because West Ham, 31 shots they had, their highest ever tally on record in a single Premier League match since those records began in 2005-06.
Yes.
Let's talk XG, though, surely.
Yeah, I mean...
Does that tell the whole picture?
Yeah, it's...
Can you tell a picture?
I don't... well, a shot paints 1,000 pictures, does it? I don't know.
Does how many shots you took describe how well you defended?
Yeah, that's a good point, actually.
I mean, so you've got the shots there. You've got Mads Hermansen in goal for Leicester was given man of the match. So those two things would suggest that actually maybe West Ham were a bit unlucky, or they were sloppy goals, or they were caught cold. But that's not really it, is it, Andy?
No.
The reason why Lopetegui's under pressure, of course, it's the results and the performance. But again, you go away to a side like Leicester, who are in an inferior opponent. It's a huge game for West Ham. West Ham have got more quality in their team. There's no doubt about that. Leicester have got a little bit, but West Ham, we know this. So therefore, you are going to dominate for periods. You are going to have shots. You are going to have all this. But to lose 3-1, it was ultimately. I don't know.
The one's very much a
complete consolation.
Sort of second edition add-on, isn't it?
Yeah. It could have been. Yeah.
Do you remember the old riddle about the man in the middle of the field who is found within an open package? How did he die?
No.
It had nothing to do with West Ham because they are passive in midfield. So I think we can confirm that.
I think.
How did he die in the field?
It was a parachute. The unopened package was a parachute.
I thought it was. I thought it was an icicle. What was that one? Do you remember that one?
It was asthma.
Okay. Andy, you were going to say something sensible, I hope.
Yeah. I think the problem is that West Ham were underachieving for so long in the league under David Moyes. When you bear in mind the sort of money they've spent on players, the sort of players they have, and obviously that winning the European trophy was a glorious moment for them and sort of obscured that underachievement in the league to a certain extent and allowed him to stay on for the extra season. Now, they clearly wanted to change the way they've played, which to an extent they have, but they've just not got rid of the major bit, which is the fact they're massively underachieving with a really pretty good squad of players.
Oh, I mean, the underachievement is more which word would be correct here? It's a more stark underachievement.
Yes,
than
it's
it
like
is under Moyes.
It's like a sort of second tier Manchester United. You know, we've spoken for years about how Manchester United managed to get good players to be worse versions of themselves.
Yeah,
I mean, you look at Jean-Claire Todibo, for example, who big teams wanted. He ended up going to West Ham, being convinced to move to West Ham. And he's looked awful so far.
Yeah.
But, that is a reflection of the environment as well. I'm glad you moved this onto West Ham, because I wondered how disrespectful it would be to Leicester, how long we had to leave it before saying, well, yeah, they did win this game, but they're probably still going to get relegated anyway. And, I think that is not unfair, because when you look at, as you say, the gulf in quality between the two squads.
Yeah, and when you talk about the thing is, we're still talking about David Moyes at West Ham. The reason why his name is still being mentioned is because Lopetegui's not had a good start at all.
But I think it wasn't his first. Isn't the first start? The start of Lopetegui is equal to the end of David Moyes' reign. Match for match. Like his win record is exactly the same.
Is that right?
It's just a continuance, like Andy said, of what went on before.
But Moyes, at least Moyes, there were runs in Europe. Obviously, they won the Europa Conference League, but they also went very deep in the Europa League. And with a team who are not used to being in European competition like that, they finished 14th under Moyes in 22-23, and then 9th last season, which is not terrible. If you're calling that an underachievement, perhaps I think much was made about the playing style, certainly, which I don't think too many people would argue about. But when all's said and done, Lopetegui's not a good fit for West Ham. If he's not sacked today, then I don't think it will be long.
It's because they haven't made an agreement with another coach.
Indeed.
Yeah.
So some of the other coaches that are being linked to the job, Sergio Conceição is the name that keeps coming up. And what do you think of that, Andy? If indeed he was to get the West Ham job, whether it be this week or...
I think it'd be great, because he likes to play physical football and he likes to play attacking football, which I think is perfect for West Ham. He's got a massive personality. He's not going to soft-soap players. All of those things I think are really important. But I think part of the thing we have to say about Lopetegui, I'm not saying he's done a good job or anything so far, because he's not, but he is, like, when you're saying he's a bad fit, I understand that, because he's a victim of circumstance to a certain point. So when he's going for the job, the die sort of cast originally, because when he's going for the job, it looks like they're in with the possibility of getting Ruben Amorim at the same time. And if you're talking about progressive coaches who would change the way they play and reinvigorate the team and create excitement around the club, Amorim is by far the one you would prefer over Lopetegui. And then you get the facts. You talked about, the lack of European football this season. You're lacking European football to sort of take the edge off the rubbishness in the league. Yeah. If they were able to, go and beat like a Danish team or a Swedish team every couple of weeks, that would probably buy him a little bit more time.
Andy Brassel, pro European Super League. That's all I'm hearing here, to be quite frank. Did you not think that, like, I think West Ham over the years, they don't like to sack managers during the season? Is that fair to say? Like, so that the actual tail off from the previous manager was such a long period of time, longer than it needed to be. Yeah. The players just seemed...
A Stone Roses-esque coda.
Exactly. The players were just performing an instrumental by the end of it, and like, but you watch the way, I hate to sound like Roy Keane, but like, you watch the way.
But the difference was Giggsy was playing the bass rather than Manny.
Exactly, they'd swap. But they had, like, when players are getting subbed off or getting brought on or whatever, like, and Lopetegui is talking to them. They're sort of looking out. They're looking every other direction other than him, and it just seems like it's like they've forgotten how to be managed. Some of the players, they're so listless and just like they've got the air of, like, when you get told off by a train conductor, you just look out the window going, you can either find me or tell me off. You can't have both. You know what I mean? It's proper like look out the window. Just I'm not being told off.
When did this last happen to you?
Relatively recently.
Ultimately,
in Japanese.
He can't help looking like Cliff Richard. That's unfortunate.
None of us can.
When I was talking about him being a victim of circumstance, I think when you straight away mention Sergio Conceição there, and we can mention Graham Potter, Allegri, there's a huge list of them. It feels like there's
Allegri went to West Ham.
It feels like just to cheer you up and play some beautiful football. It feels like there's an orderly queue forming outside the London Stadium, and that's part of it as well. The fact that there is definitely better around the corner if you get rid of him. You don't want to fire a coach without having a plan.
Yeah,
you can have like 7 different plans.
Well, yeah,
you could really lowball a lot of these managers as well.
Yeah, I mean, you're right to mention that West Ham, the owners, aren't as trigger happy happy as some owners are with sacking managers.
I mean, mainly due to money reasons, one would suggest.
Yeah.
I think whoever comes in are going to need time and money, and they're going to get well, they'll probably get time, but they won't get the money, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And they shouldn't, because they've already spent a ton.
Yeah.
They need to use what they've got, the existing resources that they've got more, don't they?
But what the owners, though, have to think is that West Ham currently in 14th. Now, I understand Bournemouth, who we think of as a decent side and quite exciting and so on, are only 3 points above them. They do have a game in hand, of course. And Aston Villa are only 4 points above them, but a game in hand. But really, West Ham are looking down now. Leicester are now 2 points behind them. Palace are 3 points. Everton 4 with a game in hand. Now, there's a 6 point gap between them and Wolves in 18th. But we were saying this the other day, that if you look at it, I don't think West Ham will get relegated. I think that even under Lopetegui, they've just got too much quality and so on.
And two teams are dreadful, and there's only one spot up for grabs, really.
Indeed, but you can't, you just cannot rely on that, especially if this is the season where, right, now we're going to kick on. You can't be thinking, well, we'll be okay because other teams will be crapper than us. But again, if you look at around them, Palace and Everton and Wolves all have the capability in the right now of kicking on a bit. I understand fans of those clubs might say, well, actually, we're in the same. They do. And so, again, West Ham do not want to be still looking over their shoulder come February, come March.
Also, they don't have they have a squad of players that is built to chase Europe. They don't have a squad of players that's built for a relegation scrap.
Exactly.
Which, when it comes to the last third of the season, will matter. And so this middle part of the season, they need to get right. Yeah. Even if we're just at a point already with West Ham where they have to create a platform so they can push for Europe next season. Yeah. Even if we're at that point, they need to act now.
And their next fixtures are Wolves at home, Bournemouth away, Brighton home, Southampton away. Then they have Liverpool at home. But those next 4 fixtures, under Lopetegui, would you think they might pick up a few points? But I wonder if they'll change the manager soon, because you look at that and you think that is actually, even though, Brighton are a good side and so on, that would be a chance to kind of get in there.
I agree. And I think you look at both of those and you think you can't afford to not turn up for the Wolves game and the Bournemouth game.
Absolutely.
Because
those two games are huge.
Those are teams who they probably should be beaten, but they definitely won't in current fettle, I think you can say. Yeah. So they're burning a couple of jokers, and before you know it, you're playing Liverpool and getting beat 6-0 at home, aren't
you? Yeah. Whereas Leicester, this victory against West Ham was massive for them.
Huge.
Because their next round of fixtures are Brighton home, Newcastle away, Wolves home, Liverpool away, Man City at home. You would think Man City will be a force to reckon with by the time that fixture comes round, although, come on.
They've had a few stumble trips at Leicester over the years, haven't they?
That's true. But anyway, jokes aside, that is a tougher group of fixtures coming next. You've got Brighton, Liverpool, Newcastle. Again, Wolves at home would be one that they would target, but still, Wolves are, on paper, a better side than Leicester. So this win was absolutely massive, because the last thing Van Nistelrooy want, you lose to a side who are not playing that well. And then you've got this run of fixtures and you think that he's up against it, where suddenly feel-good factors there.
Yeah,
they've scored a few goals. Even Daka's goal, that gives him confidence. The way he finished was fantastic. Great goal from him, the way that took it and took it to the defender. So a good start for Van Nistelrooy. And again, the fact is, talk about bad fits. Cooper, it was proved to be was a terrible fit for them. So now there's a little bit more energy, a bit more. And he spoke about this, we need energy, we need togetherness. He said all the right things you would expect him to say.
It's really interesting to see how it will turn out, though, because he is used to much better sets of players than he's currently got. So how it works out over the medium to long term, I'm really keen to see. And we're going to find out a lot about Van Nistelrooy as a coach, because he had that season at PSV where, again, you're dominant and chasing trophies. You've got the short spell in charge of Manchester United where, it's a completely different set of expectations and completely different scenario. Yeah. Whereas here, it's just staying out of the bottom 3. Now, in terms of performance, I thought they did okay in this. I mean, obviously, they conceded far more chances than they would have liked to. Yeah. And I feel like Mads Hermansen, he's becoming a more and more notable Premier League goalkeeper simply because he's being forced to make a lot of saves. Yeah. Right. He's having one of those seasons where I think people, by the end of the season, will go, oh, he's a great goalkeeper, just because they've seen him making loads of saves.
He's always warmed up.
Exactly. But look, they've got something to build on here. And I think they've got they've got more points at this stage than a lot of people would have expected as well.
Yeah, they needed to make that change, and they did.
Yeah.
And so far, so good. And by the way, when Hermanson doesn't make a save, he's always got Connor Cody to mop up after it.
Exactly.
Lovely goal.
I love the way he really took his time over that.
Yeah, I was a bit like, all right, Connor, this is...
The beauty of experience is sort of, all right, lads, I got this.
Yeah. Was that an audition for a Tom Cruise film, do you think? I don't know. Like, it was just really like, do it! Oh, thank goodness he has. Lovely to see Connor Cody happy.
It is.
But he's happy in Leicester. We saw him very happy in Copenhagen recently.
He's usually pretty happy, doesn't he?
Yeah, I know. I just,
No, I don't think he's lost his smile.
No.
Still got love for the game.
Certainly not. All right, everybody. Coming up after this, we look forward to a big, beautiful match between Arsenal and Manchester United.
If you're asking me whether Harry the Hornet, who I presume is the mascot, should dive in that way, I think it's disgraceful.
Welcome back to the Football Ramble, everybody. To presume, of course, is to make an owl out of you and me.
Presume.
Who else could he be, right?
I presume he was. I could have been an apparition. I've been huffing petrol all morning. It could have just been something in my brain had come up. Oh, my goodness.
Oh, wonderful. Now, Ipswich Town 0, Crystal Palace 1.
Oh.
Once again, Jean-Philippe Mateta proves Andy Brassel wrong.
What's he proving wrong about?
Because you said he was rubbish and couldn't play football.
That's exactly what I didn't say.
That does not sound like Andrew Brassel.
You said that
To include him with a big three with Olise and Eze was kind of intellectually dishonest. And it is.
Right, is it now?
Yeah.
And it is.
When Mateta goes to Bayern at the end of the season, the joke will massively be on you, Andy. And I'll be here to press it home.
Because you need to be a certain type of player to back up Harry Kane. That would only reinforce my point, really, wouldn't it?
So, no, you've been critical of him in the past.
No, not really.
Okay. Oh, Andy's coming really. All right, what did you say about Spain at the Euros then? So to clarify, you said that he's not... not one of Palace's more important players?
No, I didn't say any of those things.
Okay,
I said that he's technically not on the same level as Olise and Eze, which is correct. And
however,
the fact that Eze's come back in the team has instantly made a difference, because not only did Palace have a poor start to the season, but they were lacking the player who animates everything. You take away Olise from Palace, that's a blow. You take away Olise and Eze through injury, and all of a sudden you're in trouble, aren't you?
Yeah, I need to go back and listen to what you actually said, Andy, because I think you've wriggled out of that. But you said he's
there's no wriggling.
Andy,
no.
I'll tell you,
I'm smooth.
Really, were you as smooth as Mateta doing a little lollipop breezing past the defender? I mean,
maybe not.
There's your technical quality for you, mate. What a goal it was! Past the defender, get out the way, little lad, and what a lovely finish. It takes a certain type of player to do that, Peter.
Don't look at me as an ally.
Yeah, that's true.
The sort of player who could back up Harry Kane at Bayern Munich.
That's very much Blackadder looking to Baldrick to bail him out there.
What a lovely old 15-game a season job.
Deny everything, Peter.
I'm going to take that personally.
Yeah.
You're going to get yours at the end of the season. Don't you worry.
Yeah.
A 2-footer from behind.
Oh, no.
Keep an eye.
Not another one.
Because I'm coming for you.
Yeah. It was a lovely goal, though. Come on, we're all skirting around the issue. It was a beautiful
finish.
Goal. It was a finish. Great finish, yeah. And that was the difference. You know, he is a difference maker.
Tractor boys, goodbye.
Yeah, did you see Adam Morton posted a video of Gordon Ramsay shouting Jean-Philippe on his Instagram story?
I didn't, but I'm enjoying it.
Yes, it's good.
Very nice.
It's good. Palace, of course, were level on points with Ipswich going into this game, so it was a massive match.
That doesn't feel like that should be accurate in the same way that in the way that Ipswich are kind of. How did Ipswich get so many points then?
But no, I think it's Palace have not got many points.
Yeah, okay, fair.
Yeah.
Where do you get those points from?
Yeah,
Ipswich?
give them back.
Give them back.
Have you picked up my points?
Yeah. they haven't won at home yet this season.
Yeah.
No.
And that is the old adage, the classic cliche, if you will, is you've got to make your home form count. Turn it into a fortress.
Yeah.
That is
what this sort of draws attention to as well, is that Ipswich haven't really managed to build on that win at Tottenham. You know, but
it's difficult. I mean, and this is
difficult but they haven't
with a team with a lot of who are Championship players, done remarkably well last season. Of course, they're up now,
and who were League One players about.
Well, indeed, Andy.
18 months ago.
The fact that they're in the Premier League is enormous. We don't want to patronise them too much, but when I understand your point, when you build on that victory. to build is very, very difficult for any promoted side in the league. And actually, I say they haven't won at home. That is obviously factually correct. But I mean, a point against Fulham, who I think
Villa,
Fulham are decent. Villa, but Manchester United,
which looked better at the time than it
exactly.
does now.
It's not all like we're saying they're crap at home. Or anything, but this game would have been because they had. Henderson made a good save. They had a bit of pressure and stuff. It's these types of games where you've got to get something out of it.
It just feels like Palace are better at dealing with this sort of situation, as well as being a team that knows each other a bit better. Because when we talked about the fact that we keep having to come back to this about Ipswich, but the fact that they came up so quickly, it's not that it's left them with a team with no Premier League quality. It's just to get Premier League quality, they've had to go out and buy a load of players. And Fulham have been in this situation before. We've got no option but to bring a load of players in. And people will say from a distance, oh, well, if you bring that many players in, it's going to be hard to settle. What's the option? But like start the season with a load of players who were playing League One 15 months ago. You've got to be proactive and do something about it. And I said at the start of the season, the fact that they went out and had this, they've spent the Premier League money slightly differently from the way a lot of other promoted teams do. Because, as I said, if they go down, you feel they'll have the best squad in the Championship by quite a long way. It's a set of players they can grow with. And you're going to get a load of growing pains for that. Like, I don't think they'll be in the same position to say Luton when they go down,
right?
Or if they go down.
Will they keep hold of all of their players and be up the next time a much stronger and more fortified unit?
Most of them.
You'd imagine maybe Delap might be picked off or something like that.
Yeah, well, especially with City having the buyback as well. They could use him as collateral if nothing else.
He don't want to be playing in League One, does he?
Yeah. Well, if he ends up with like a dozen Premier League goals, they can kind of ask what they like for him, really, can't they?
Oh yeah, that's true. Well, he needs to score a few more.
He needs to get on that road.
But he's on the way.
He had a really good chance that ended up not looking like a chance because he didn't really connect with it at all. I think it was a Leif Davis cross. That you're expecting the net to bulge, and in the end, it just grazes his head.
It takes a quality centre forward like Jean-Philippe to put those on.
Exactly.
Jean-Philippe. Now, there is a bit of controversy around a Palace player, Mark Gay. Now, a lot of you would have seen this. Of course, all Premier League captains were asked to wear rainbow armbands this week in a show of support, and last week as well, over the weekend, a show of support for the LGBTQ plus community as a part of the Premier League's Rainbow Laces campaign. In this game, Crystal Palace captain Mark Gay wrote "Jesus loves you" on his rainbow armband. Now, this comes after he received a warning from the FA for writing "I love Jesus" on his armband against Newcastle at the weekend. Now, of course, the FA bans any political, religious or personal slogans, statements or images on any equipment. So on your boots, on the top, on arm, captain's armband, all that kind of stuff. Also, Ipswich captain Sam Morsy was the only one of the league's 20 captains not to wear the armband in support of the LGBTQ plus community. He said it was to do with his Muslim beliefs. He didn't wear one last night or at the weekend as well. So, but Morsy, I mean, that is allowed because the FA have asked captains. They've allowed.
Out, I suppose,
if you don't want to do it, it is ultimately your choice. They have encouraged people to do it. So actually, Morsy is not going to be in trouble with
to face one would be a completely different.
So Mark,
one would suggest.
So Mark Gay, got his warning and then has written on the rainbow armband again. So he could be in trouble. We wait and see.
I think he probably will be.
He probably will be in a bit of trouble. But I imagine it'll be a fine rather than any kind of banning order.
Yeah.
I wouldn't prejudice the intentions of a man who went through the British school system with that name about any of his ideas or anything. But I think the fans deserve clarity because speculation can be damaging.
Exactly. I think that's more important than a fine or a ban or whatever. Just explain yourself.
Because
at the moment we're just sitting here speculating what he meant.
Because whatever one thinks, Sam Morsy has explained himself.
Yeah. And I would say that his dad coming out late last night saying, if you look at what the LGBT, he said, if you look at what the LGBT community are doing, they're trying to impose on others what they believe in. If that's your spokesperson, then we are allowed to speculate as to which direction.
Yeah,
but then sins of the fathers, nothing to do with him. But I would say that I don't think Mark Gay would have enjoyed that. And
that's the problem, isn't it? Like every time like a footballer's dad comes out and says something.
Yeah.
I mean, we've all felt that pressure, haven't we? Like a parent coming out and saying something. Oh, can't you just shut up? But I think. Yeah, I think he does need to explain himself. And as a Premier League captain, he owes it to football society in this country to explain himself. And especially if you're going to make a statement, you can't say, right, I'm going to say nothing about it now, can you?
You've already started that particular conversation, I suppose. I've said it before on this show and otherwise. I find the rainbow armbands, after the U-turn in Qatar that the England team did, I think that the rainbow armbands, there's probably an argument to say that they are meaningless simply because our national team did at a time of heightened kind of exposure to something like that. But in this case, he's a club captain and he needs to be a bit more forthright about. Why did anybody ask him in the presser afterwards? Was that not part of the thing? Was he involved? I don't know.
No, I don't think so. I mean, the captains aren't obliged to come out and speak afterwards.
Brought his dad out.
I think that is what it comes back to, the captaincy. Like, it's fine for Sam Morsey to believe what he wants and express what he wants to express, but maybe don't be the captain.
Yeah.
You know, if you're representing a football club that's meant to be, and this thing that people keep coming back to about, it's being imposed on people by the LGBTQ plus community, or like, you know, it's ramming these ideas down.
Well, I mean,
it's not. It's asking for respect and equality. It's not saying I believe this or you should believe this. It's asking for respect and equality.
In a product that's compromised by homophobia, and transphobia, all that stuff.
And this is a massive issue for every single football club. Yeah. And as the captain of a football club, you owe it to your community around your club to say everyone is welcome. You're not saying I believe this or I want to do this or anything like that. You're saying everyone is welcome, whatever my beliefs, whatever your beliefs, everyone is welcome. And that's what it should be about. And if you're not prepared to do that, you shouldn't be the captain.
Well, completely agree. Well, we shall see if he says anything in the coming days, of course. Tonight, we've got Arsenal versus Manchester United. Mikel Arteta called this a big, beautiful match.
A big, beautiful match.
I love it. And
it's like if you were a football match, Marcus.
A BBM.
You're a big, beautiful boy.
True. I'm not the biggest. I'm not the tallest, am I?
I suppose.
Emotionally, I think you are.
Muscular, though.
Yeah.
Taut.
I have been eating more.
I think if anyone asked which Rambler they'd like most like a hug off, everyone would say you.
Yeah.
Do you not think, Luke?
I hugged a UFC fighter in a bar last week, and he has the same kind of muscular. Love is love, and he was like, he was so muscular, unbelievably muscular.
Yes.
And it felt like getting a massage off you. You have very strong, muscular hands and claws and
claws. If we're not a little spiky.
If we're still feeling a bit of Copa Libertadores love from the weekend, I mean, I would say like Marcus is the Hulky of the Ramble.
Yeah,
he
is.
Yeah, because he's not that
solid.
tall. You'd think he was like was he like fairly sort of average height or something? Or
is he?
About 5'10"? Like
yeah, you think Hulk is like 6'4" or something, you know?
Yeah, I mean, it's all about the power, isn't it?
It's all about the power. Yeah. I once got a hug off Neil Ruddock.
Really?
That was very comprehensive, I'll say.
I got a handshake from Vitaly Klitschko, which he was just being friendly, but it was abundantly clear to me that he could crush me like a peanut.
Well, I've said this before. The biggest hands I've ever shook, David James and Chris Eubank.
Right, okay.
Apparently,
but best hug, Ian Wright's good at hugging. Peter, you must have had an Ian Wright hug.
Oh, yeah, he is.
Wonderful.
He's a wonderful hugger.
As I say, don't meet your heroes unless your heroes are Ian Wright or Peter Drury, because if it's marvellous spell, you won't be disappointed. Or Pete Donaldson.
Apparently, the UFC fighter I hugged was called Natan Levy. So there we go.
Oh, okay. Yeah. And the levy did not break.
The levy did not break. No. I very much broke. Snapped me in half.
But then he put you back together. Now, Arsenal, they're up to second, of course. They're still 9 points behind Liverpool. So in the race for second, they're in pole position. So they've got ground to catch up on, of course. And it starts here with their match against Manchester United. Liverpool away to Newcastle, of course. There's a little bit of a chance. I mean, you would expect Arsenal now, Pete Donaldson, to go on and beat this Manchester United side, who, yes, Amarim's in charge, but they're still there to be got at.
Yeah,
and Arsenal look very much like they've got their mojo back, which is short form for Martin Odegaard.
I think if Amorim could have had the choice, would he have sat this one out? I don't know. Just for another week.
There was too many games before the Arsenal game.
Well, it's a big, beautiful match.
It is.
Why wouldn't you want to be involved, I suppose?
Indeed, yeah. He did ask for the Manchester United fans to stop chanting his name.
Right. Make it less about him and more about...
Yeah, although I've got a bit tabloidy there.
Maybe he just doesn't like the tune.
Yeah.
Because it's to the tune of...
Amorim.
Yeah.
Is that what it is?
Casey and the Sunshine Band, isn't it?
What? Yeah.
Of course, it's also the same tune that people used to chant Boris is a at the darts.
Yeah.
When Boris Johnson was in charge.
Yeah.
Okay. What, he's in charge of what? Just the Mayor of London. What was he?
The country.
Sorry, what? No, I was drinking quite heavily during COVID.
We're talking about Boris Johnson, not Boris Becker.
As were all the people at the darts.
For some reason, I thought, was he in charge of the darts at one? Lost my goddamn mind.
PDA chief Boris Johnson.
We shouldn't have to clarify which Boris. I never lived in the Soviet Union. No, not that one. Come on.
Sorry, everyone.
No, not at all, Peter. Right. Not at all.
Yeah.
Everyone is welcome here. No matter what they think or believe, within reason. But yeah, so Amorim, he said that he basically was saying chant for the players and the team to give them encouragement. Because, again, maybe there's a bit of sports psychology there. If you're chanting a player's name, that would probably give them encouragement. Whereas if you're chanting the manager's name, I think he's saying it's a waste of time.
Yeah,
what is he going to do? He's going to go, oh, they love me, I'm going to stick on another sub. It's not the same.
No.
Not the same. But he's very much in charge of Manchester United now. It's his team. It's becoming a little more his team, of course, but you would expect Arsenal to win this game, Andy, would you not?
You would.
Oh, there's hesitation in that voice of yours.
There is a good feeling around Manchester United at the moment, and I said at the start that the same set of players would look quite different under Amorim. Now, he's obviously keen to play down expectation, which I think is sensible in the circumstances because they've got a lot of work to do. He'll want to change the players or some of the players when he gets to next summer. But, he's someone who is, we've seen publicly, a very skilled communicator. That gives us a clue to what is happening at the moment because he's a very skilled communicator with the players as well. You can see that. They've got great clarity on what they're meant to be doing. We've seen great performances from Amad Diallo, Joshua Zirkzee, who weren't key figures really for Manchester United before. So I think... especially as there's still relatively little expectation on them. If they go there and perform well and lose, I think people will still kind of be okay with that.
Yeah.
But that really gives them the freedom to believe internally that they can actually go and get a result.
Interesting. Yeah, no, I see what you're saying there. Negative news coming out from Manchester United is that Luke Shaw has suffered another injury setback. Now, people say,
disappointing.
Yeah, people might say, oh, well, surprise, surprise. But actually, when you saw his heartfelt post on, was it Instagram? I did feel sorry for him. He's such a brilliant fullback and would be a great option for Amorim in his system, whether it be
in a three as well,
in a three or at wing back, be out for another few weeks. I think, well, hopefully it will just be a few weeks or whatever it is, because it must be immensely frustrating for him, of course, because he's made a few sub appearances under Amorim already. So we all thought he might be back. So hopefully he will be, probably come the new year.
Return of ranked player on Warzone. Patch notes. December 4th.
Right, now, you may remember, everybody, that not that long ago, Mikel Arteta accidentally picked up the ball against Inter last month when it was still just about on the pitch. He was shown a yellow card for this and a direct free kick was given. Yeah. Well, it's been revealed that the rules state that Arteta should have actually been sent off for that.
Oh.
Indeed. However, this incident has caused iFabulous, or IFAB for short, to review the rules. That's incorrect. From next season, it will just be an indirect free kick and no disciplinary action against the coach or any sub who accidentally infringes. So, a little bit of interpretation. It was accidental, Your Honour.
So it sounds like Arteta's leading the conversation when it comes to changing football for the better.
Indeed.
So basically, if anyone does it next season, they'll get let off.
Unless it's Jose Mourinho. That's exactly where I was going with that.
Not applicable in Turkey.
No.
He won't be in Turkey. Sorry, what am I saying?
Yeah.
Sorry, silly.
That's he's currently in Turkey,
right,
when the law enforces. Speaking of Mourinho, did you see him grabbing his assistant by the hood to stop him from celebrating a goal with the Fenerbahce players? Did you see that recently?
Yeah.
It was so unnecessarily aggressive.
Yeah.
Like, get back! You didn't do anything. It was,
I would never do something like this. Yes.
I love it when Mourinho just goes absolutely mad.
He looked like a pitch invader or something. Like sort of
Maybe that's what Mourinho thought he was. I'm your assistant coach. Oh, great stuff.
The perils of using peripheral vision.
Well, it is, Andy. It is. Right. Coming up after this, we find out what subject Cole Palmer failed at school. Welcome back to the Football Ramble, everybody. Tonight, it's Pete Donaldson's Newcastle United against Arne Slot's Liverpool. That does sound like Pete is suddenly Newcastle United manager.
Yeah, I'm very much like one of your sounders, Marcus. Not relishing this one. Hasn't come at a great time for the tune.
Yes.
Is it home, though?
It is at home.
Go both ways.
Good indeed. I mean, it's a chance for Newcastle to get
every
back
football,
on the wagon.
Every big beautiful matches.
It's a big beautiful match. I mean, it has been in the past before. Eddie Howe has said that Newcastle need to make new signings to prevent the squad becoming stale. What did you think of that ahead of this game?
Yeah, I mean, well, they can't do it yet, can they? So
he's gone too early.
He's gone
Did he
too
forget
early,
when the window was?
Yeah. Sign back Loris Karius.
Yes.
It's possible.
Is he allowed back? Is he allowed back?
Oh, he's always welcome.
Free agent.
Big, beautiful men.
Yes.
Yeah. There we go.
Yeah. I mean, but the comments he made, though, it has been the case with Newcastle for probably a year or maybe more, but they could do with some new players in there.
You've got to accumulate to speculate, it seems. Isn't
he just setting out his stall for the January transfer window? There's no point asking on January the 1st, is there?
No.
And the thing is,
you need to have plans in place to be just chasing people week one, surely.
That's it. And like you spoke about on Monday's show, the fact is they spent far too long chasing Gay in the summer. And, of course, there was the fact that Paul Mitchell only arrives halfway through the window. So I think you kind of got to give him a pass on that one.
Losing a couple of ways, Anderson and Minte.
That was
very much
unavoidable,
needed, though, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I mean,
Howe clearly didn't want to lose them, but as you say...
No, but he didn't...
With PSR.
He didn't want them badly enough to play them in any sort of significant... to any significant extent, did he?
Say that to his face, Andy.
Well, I might have the opportunity to do so in the near future.
Poor Anderson never got his goal. Like he had one chalked off for offside, I think. It was so unlucky, and he really wanted it, you could tell. I just thought if he just got that goal, he'd sort of kick on. But yeah, he's been doing very well.
He has.
Like Nottingham Forest.
Indeed. Now, Mo Salah has suggested that he could have played his last game against Manchester City in that post-match interview on Sunday. He's been a little bit of a cryptic boy, isn't he?
Well, it's not cryptic, is it? He's just laying it on a little bit thick at the moment.
I'm out of here.
I realise he's negotiating from a position of strength because he's playing so well at the moment.
And he's showing off his muscles as well to show that how strong he is and that.
Oh, yeah, quite right.
Yeah. Some said that that's him putting himself in the shop window.
I'm
really lean, and it's just like, no, I think his goals and performances have done enough. Maybe he's not a David Ginola. John Gregory?
I was going to say maybe he's a big fan of Ginola.
Different to that.
Or a big disliker of John Gregory.
Can I say that Arne Slot's initial response to this when he was asked about this was superb.
Yeah.
Susan Perb. He said, when he was asked about that, Slot said, maybe Mo knows more about the 115 accusations and expects them not to be in the Premier League with regards to Man City and his last game against them.
Doing bits.
Top-notch
Top of the Premier League. Beautiful.
Everything that man at the moment touches turns to gold and gags.
And you think of the way he's delivered that as well, not with as much hearty relish as Jurgen Klopp, proving, I suppose, that he's the Roger Moore to his Sean Connery.
Ooh, I like that.
Yes.
It's like, Carlo, can I borrow your eyebrow?
Yeah. Now you're talking.
It is going to be interesting to see how muscular and lithe certain Liverpool players are looking at. Looking like by the time they play Accrington Stanley on the 11th of January, they've got something like 8 matches from like now until then to play, and 9, I think. No, maybe 10. No, 9 I think they've got, and then 10 if they beat Southampton in the League Cup. Like that's a lot of matches to play over a very short amount of distance, and I know they've got.
Well, the Christmas is always busy, but yeah, that seems
excessive. But 11th of January.
Yeah, it is a little. I mean, they've got an unbelievable squad. Having said that.
Well,
it's the Ian Rushmill Cup, Accrington Stanley, isn't it?
No, there you go. But that'll teach them for going far in the cups, then I suppose.
Yeah,
it comes at a price.
I am looking forward to this match, but it does seem that he's got a lot of problems to solve, hasn't he, Andy?
How or
do you think if there were more how? Do you think that if there were more moneyed suitors, they probably would lose Bruno? in January because they need
maybe,
the money.
But like you guys said, I don't know if he's really played well enough so far, because the sort of team that's going to pay that sort of money for him
need a 10 out of 10.
It doesn't feel like he's like that at the moment. I feel like obviously he's been globally very successful for Newcastle, and he's been brilliant. He's assimilated
27.
really well with the club. Yeah, he's slightly older than you think, and I think the other thing is they've not quite decided whether he's a defensive midfielder or he's an 8.
Yeah.
Now, Newcastle have made him think for a lot of the time there that he's an 8.
He's a 6.
He's decent on the ball. He's not good enough on the ball to play that far forward. Yeah. And if they'd have progressed to the point that they'd wanted to, he would be a 6. Yeah. I think you're right, because that's what he's best at. Now, I think... I guess it feels as if there's a slight sea change at the moment, because this is the first time since Eddie Howe's been in charge.
They've got an alternative in Tonali.
Maybe. But like, this is the first time since Eddie Howe, which he hasn't really been able to manage successfully so far. And I guess that's one of the reasons I was going to say why, for the first time since Eddie Howe's been in charge, there is a decent portion of the fan base. Now, it might still be a minority, but there's a decent portion of the fan base that's saying, maybe we should shift him. Yeah. Maybe we should move on. Whereas when they had their little wobbles last season, especially when they had a load of injuries and they're playing in the Champions League, all the noise about, well, maybe Howe gets shifted for the owners, none of that was coming from inside the club, and none of that was coming from inside the fan base. So people who are actually watching Newcastle didn't have that in mind at all. Whereas now, frustration's mounted to an extent that I know what you're saying about the signings, and I agree with that. But I think we've got to a point where they haven't played particularly well for most of this season. It feels that if Isak's not scoring, they're not scoring, which is a massive problem. And it's sort of got to a point where people are saying, well, what's the excuse? We haven't even got European football this season. You can't lay it all on Mitchell. We can't lay any of it on Mitchell, as we said, because he turned up halfway through the transfer window. So I think the next 2 months is critical for Eddie Howe, personally.
I think you're right.
And it's critical for Newcastle as well, because they need to do something in the window. They can't carry on like it is now. Part of it's kind of a legacy problem, of course, because people have said, well, how hasn't he managed to shift on some of the players from the Ashley era? Well, the answer's in the question, really, isn't it? So that's a problem. They haven't really had that collateral. So going back to what you were saying at the beginning, Pete, I think losing one of the biggies might actually be in their interest.
Yeah. Just, I mean, can you sort of give us a short 3-sentence roundup about?
I love the way you
why
say short
3-sentence. No, 3-sentence roundup. No. I need to steal this so I can use it elsewhere with friends and enemies. Is there a world where both Bruno and Tonali can both play in the same squad? Because it doesn't, to all indication, it doesn't look like that's possible.
Well, they have done a bit, though, haven't they?
But I think that's the important thing. I feel it's possible. Yeah. You might feel it's possible. Does Eddie Howe think it's possible?
Yeah.
That's the problem.
But did they not play a bit together, but in the previous season, though?
It didn't go very well either. That wasn't particularly convincing either, to be honest. Individually, they look good.
But it must be so frustrating for Tonali at the moment. You're thinking, well, the team's not playing particularly well. I'm still not starting the games.
Yeah. And when he does start, he gets brought off at a predetermined kind of time. It doesn't seem like it's reactive to what's happening on the field. He just gets brought off at 70 minutes or whatever.
Yeah, you're right. And the thing is, it goes back to what we were talking about with Bruno in the first place. If you think he's a 6, then Tonali can definitely play ahead of him.
Yeah.
Because Tonali has greater potential in the final third of the match. You'd rather have him making the last pass than Bruno Guimaraes, wouldn't you?
Yeah. What will Eddie Howe do? Find out tonight at 7:30. Elsewhere tonight, Everton host Wolves in another relegation 6-pointer.
Oh, it's massive.
I think
if someone was, this is such a big game that if someone was going to lift it, it needs to be you and your big shoulders. I think
it's a BBRSP.
Lift it, Marcus.
I'll leave that to Mateus Cunha because I think he has the quality to lift it.
Well, like any man who's shone at the Cottage is good enough for you, right?
Exactly. Yeah. If you come to town and beat us at our game, than which is football.
I can just imagine you sort of like shaking his hand as he comes off in like the corner of the pitch, where the little tunnel is. And going, there you go. There's a lemon Fanta for your efforts.
Yeah,
You've been that good.
I'd go a bit more exotic, to be honest. Maybe pineapple. But it is a huge game, and you feel that whoever loses that will be like a wounded animal afterwards. Like, it would be very, very discouraging, of course. So all eyes on that one.
Yeah.
Some more intriguing news, though, concerning one of Everton's number is Ashley Young, who could play against his son in the FA Cup third round. Everton have been drawn against the posh Peterborough United, where his son is in the under-21s. It does seem unlikely because his son has only got one appearance for the senior side, which I think was in
rotate for the cup, didn't you?
But that would be something, wouldn't it?
It would be something. I think they should do it for just to give him a little bit of glory
PR.
back to the FA Cup, bit of PR, bit of magic back in the FA Cup. I'm just saying, there was a chicken once found with 2 cloacas.
Is that right?
A bird with 2 anuses. I mean, I'm just saying, maybe the pigeons want to get involved.
You've done very well to bring that into this conversation.
What a hit that would be. A carpet bombing, both mouths. Yes. Yes!
Oh, man.
Get in there.
They'd have to be standing next to each other, though.
Maybe they'd find themselves on the field.
I'm not sure which position his son plays, but maybe at a corner, he's having to mark him.
Yes.
Right, quick, get the double-arse pigeon in. There we
Bang.
go. Into the mouth.
One poo bounces off the post, splits into 2, into both of their mouths.
I'm sorry, everybody.
Podcast of the year, the Football Ramble, FSA Awards 2021.
Elsewhere, down the bottom, Southampton travel to Chelsea, who were near the top, of course. Now, did you see that Cole Palmer was doing a little bit of content recently and admitted that he failed physical education, affectionately known as PE, at school, Andy Brassel?
It's funny. What I love so much about Cole Palmer being interviewed, it's not what he says, it's what he doesn't say.
Because we all know there's other subjects he failed. Let's make that very clear.
Yeah.
Do you think he hates getting interviewed, or is he just... Or much like being on the pitch, he's just not really phased, and he's not really bothered.
He's like Andy fucking Kaufman. He's just this kind of outsider artist. I can't get enough of it.
Sorry, who's Kaufman, and why are you doing that to him, Andy?
He said, no offence to the teachers, but not really. I didn't really enjoy the. He didn't enjoy
anything.
They asked, was there a teacher who inspired him? And he was like, nope, definitely not.
He's just so sort of unbothered by everything.
It was great how he was asked about that, and they asked him, "Did you fail the written part of PE?" Which I thought was a bit of a low key sledge, and he went, "No, it wasn't. It wasn't actually the written bit. I'm not really sure how that happened." But of course, I think his best interview moment of the weekend was where the brilliant Mark Scott interviewed him directly after the game against Villa, and he asked him about. I think he didn't even ask him directly, but mentioned about them being title contenders. Just the look. The look that he gave it was just magnificent.
That's what, when the ball's coming into the box and the defender's got a free header, that's what Gay shouts. Mark Scott!
Good, it.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, we're going to end on that note.
You wanna?
Yeah, I do.
You wanna?
Thanks for listening to the Football Ramble, part of the Acast Creator Network. Pete and Andy will be back tomorrow alongside Luke Moore to recap tonight's fixtures. Patreon subscribers, don't you go anywhere. Keep listening for Ramble Uncut. And if you're not a Patreon subscriber, sign up to get Ramble Uncut every single Wednesday. Head over to patreon.com/Football Ramble. All of you follow us on X, Blue Sky, TikTok and Instagram at Football Ramble, and subscribe on YouTube or wherever you get your pods. Thanks, Andy.
Thank you.
Thanks, Petey.
Goodbye, all.
And thank you, Ashley Young and Son.